What's going on, guys? Happy Friday to you. I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber as always, guys. Welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, listen. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's the Friday night live stream, and we're going to tear it up, baby, like we always do. Remember to be at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time tonight. A lot of y'all be missing it. I'm going to have some real good stories tonight. We're going to be on fire like we was last week. We're going to have a good time. So you guys make sure you're there tonight. But right now, the Tyre Nichols court date everybody was anticipating has just, the court date was the day. It just ended. I watched the whole thing live, like I was in the room, and I got some stuff for y'all. I'm telling you, I told you before, this court case is going to be crazy. Today, they were supposed to, talk about the motion for these 3 officers out of the 5 to be excluded from Demetrius Haley and Emmett Martin III. The other 3, Justin Smith, Tadarius Bean, and Desmond Mills Jr., are the ones that want separate trials from each of them. They don't want to be associated with Emmett Martin and Demetrius Haley. They separated themselves. So now, what happened in the court situation today, and this might be a long video, but I need you to pay attention because you can find some interesting stuff in this one. What happened was, when it came on, they gave a court date, and I have a lot of notes here, so I'll have to look down, but bear with me. This video is worth it. It says November 6th, the trial dates will be set. And you heard me say dates. Now, today they were supposed to give the motion of whether or not they were going to give these guys separate trials, right? What happened was Desmond Mills, all of the officers were there. The attorneys for Desmond Mills, at the end, they pushed it to November 16th. Because they were saying they were deciding what they were going to do. So they pushed it to November 16th as the trial date will be announced. So that's official, November 6th, right? After they announced that, they said the 3 members or the 3 clients and the 3 clients representation for Desmond Mills, Tadarius Bean, and Justice Smith are to remain in the courtroom. Now, there were people in there, including Robon Wells and family. Robon Wells is Tyre Nichols' mother. So she was in there. Demetrius Haley, their representation, Emmett Smith, his representation left. Now you got 3 lawyers and you got representing the last 3 officers that are trying to separate themselves from the trial. They showed all this live. You got Desmond Mills, Tadarius Bean, and Justice Smith. I have notes, and it's a lot. I got to go through them with y'all. I took notes. This is what was said of why each lawyer spoke in representation of their client personally, why they personally should be separated from everybody else. Watch this craziness. When this trial starts, it's going to be a kangaroo court. You watch. I told you it's going to be wild. We're going to go with everybody's favorite first. Tadarius Bean. Look at all these notes on Tadarius Bean. Check this out, guys. And this just happened. The judge asked them, why Mr. Such and Such, this is the lawyer, that your client, Tadarius Bean, should be given the motion to separate himself from everybody else. Listen to this. First thing Tadarius Bean lawyer said, and I got all these different points. He cited that the case had a lot of complexities in it. Said, number 1, there are 2 different perspectives and 2 different scenes. Meaning, as far as the perspectives go, there's one way they look at all of the officers when they see them all together. And there's one way they see how the whole situation came out and how the whole situation with Tyre Nichols resulting in Tyre Nichols dying, it casts a vast shadow on him and the other two clients, Desmond Mills and Justin Smith, right? He says there are two different scenes. First was the first scene where he was pulled over and there were three officers there. Tadarius Bean was not present. He didn't have anything to do with that, right? Once they went to the second scene, this is when it gets crazy. He says, it wasn't known, and I want y'all to pay attention on this. Tadarius Bean did not know. He just reacted to the call. Tadarius Bean reacted to the call and went to the second scene. He didn't know that Tyre Nichols was high on hallucinogenic mushrooms. When he said that, right? Now, before I say the reaction he got in the courtroom, when he was talking, and if y'all get a chance to look at it, because I'm gonna do separate videos on all three of these guys and their lawyers. When he was talking, he sounded like a little kid that was about to cry. I don't know if he has some type of condition. If he does, forgive me for making jokes about it. But he was talking, and he was talking like this, and he like he was about to cry. He just kept doing it. I'm like, what's wrong with this dude? But anyway, right? When he said Tyre Nichols was high on hallucinogenic mushrooms, right? You could hear his mom in the back. What? Loud as hell. What? As soon as she said it, he was like, he felt uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying? Talking to the judge. He was cutting up in his speech and everything. It was hilarious. Look, when she said that, this is the next point he said. Tadarius Bean just reacted. He was blindly drug into this. Basically saying the officers didn't communicate with just Tadarius Bean, letting him know how dangerous Tyre Nichols was. Then he said he didn't know that Tyre Nichols, listen closely, had superhuman strength. Then he said, if a suspect doesn't give his hands for arrest, Tyre should have listened. Oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Then he said they never hit him. Remember, he said this is the second stop now we're talking about. They never hit him after he was in handcuffs. In fact, they helped him up against the car and were very professional. Are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? The damage was done. And then they sat him up because he couldn't get up. The light was draining out of him. You see how silly this sounds? This is going to be crazy. This lawyer right here, Tadarius Bean, should have got rid of him. I told you that a while ago. Then he says, Tyre Nichols was high on weed, mushrooms, alcohol, THC. While he was doing all this rambling, right? Because he was rambling, stuttering. He was uncomfortable because he was bashing basically Tyre Nichols while his family was behind there and the mom already reacted, right? He was stumbling over the word. This is what the judge said, y'all. The judge said, well, what does this have to do with the motion? Like, I mean, you're talking, you're saying different perspectives, but what does this really say about where are you going with this? This is what Tadarius Bean's lawyer said. The arrest memorandum, the discovery, y'all, was adjusted to make his client look bad. That's the first thing. Then he said, they let Hempfield go, Preston Hempfield. They wouldn't say his name. He kept saying they let this one person go, but you could tell who they were talking about. Why not Bean? Why didn't you let Bean go? You exonerated Hempfield. Why didn't you do it to Tadarius Bean? Then he said, Bean, here we go with this. Bean never hit Tyre or cursed him. He only hit him on the wrist a couple of times. I got videos out there where I've shown you him teeing off, him and Justin Smith at the same time teeing off on Tyre Nichols on the corner from his house. I can't believe he said that again. Then he says, the judge said, it's not that perplexed. He told him again, it's not that perplexed. get to the point. These are the last three things that Tredarius Bean's lawyer said, and Tredarius Bean is screwed. He said, Hempfield did more harm than Bean to Tyre Nichols. He wished death upon him, and like basically saying, he said something and he's sitting at home right now probably watching us. He said some stuff and it happened. Like, oh my God, I can't believe this dude. That's the first thing, right? I'm like, really, dude? Then he said, Hempfield, well, this goes back to the first part. Hempfield wished harm on Tyre Nichols. When Bean went into this situation blindly and in the name of good policing. So he was going to apprehend the bad guy. He didn't know he was a drunk maniac high off of weed that made him strong as the Hulk while being built like licorice. This is the third and final point with Tredarius Bean, lawyer. He said, Tredarius Bean, Justin Smith, and Emmett Martin III were all in fear of their life. They didn't know what would happen if they let him get away or if he got his hands free. Because Tyre Nichols was so strong. Can y'all believe that? This is what Tredarius Bean's lawyer said. He knows the deal. This sitting up here and acting like you dismissive and don't have common sense, it makes no difference in the world. You're guilty. And that is that. Now that's Tredarius Bean. Now we're going to go to Justin Smith, a.k.a. Cisco from Drew Hill. Check it out. Justin Smith's attorney came and had still photos of the scene saying that Justin Smith never hit him neither. Even like Tredarius Bean, right? Now remember Tredarius Bean's name, right? First thing he said is, the media ruined the case. Showing all of the video, so on and so forth, and giving their opinions. Everybody in Tennessee knows about it. Everybody in the world knows about it. And his client's chances for a fair trial are ruined as well. Then he said, Justin Smith, like Tredarius Bean, didn't know how dangerous a criminal Tyre Nichols was. He also said, Justin Smith called dispatch and told them prior to responding to bring EMS to the scene. Because obviously he wasn't there to kill anyone or he didn't want anyone to be hurt. Now, what I forgot to add on this is Justin Smith supposedly was sitting in the car in some parking lot. I think he said Family Dollar or something like that. He was sitting in the parking lot. He heard the call. It was close by him, so he decided to go and help because somebody was on the loose and he was just going to go in the name of good police and go and help his comrades. So once he heard that he was maced and tased, he did the right thing. And let me call EMS to make sure this vicious guy is okay. All right. Then he said, Justin Smith's lawyer pointed across to the prosecutor, the bald-head dude. He said, the prosecution ruined the case with what they said to the media. And he said, and then it goes to the next point. No one knows, and I want y'all to hear this, it's going to piss you off. No one knows how Tyre Nichols died or if in fact his injuries on the scene caused his death. I couldn't believe when he said that. He also said this. As an attorney, he fears that Justice Smith gets railroaded off of the actions of others based on video evidence. That's when he pulled the still photos out and gave them to the judge. He gave still photos out of the scene. Look, see, he's not hitting anybody right there. Look, he's barely holding them up. And that right there lets me know, ladies and gentlemen, that scene where he was held up and he was getting punched in the face by Emmett Martin really hard, that had a serious impact on how the city of Memphis saw that. And I think the people that was in law enforcement saw that because he kept bringing that part up and he was showing still photos of it, which I don't know how you would get evidence off of the still photo when the video's out. He also said Smith held Tyre Nichols up, not to beat him, not to be beat, but to be arrested. He also said, Tadarius Bean and Justin Smith should be tried together because their actions are equal. They didn't do anything to Tyre Nichols. That's Justin Smith. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Desmond Mills' attorney, I give him credit. He got up and he said, what can I say? He was like, but I have nothing to say. Me and my client are going to rest on our paperwork and have no further comment. And he sat down, and as soon as he jumped in, he jumped back out. Now they went to the prosecution for him to speak of why they shouldn't get separate trials. Now, it's one thing you notice if you guys get to look at this, because it's a long video, I'm trying to shorten it up for you. What you noticed was this. Each of those dudes, the representation of those dudes, they've been talking, you can tell, because they were trying to speak as if, you know, they all were basically setting it up to where we don't want to be around, like I said in other videos, Demetrius Harris, and especially Emmett Martin III. They don't want to be associated with what they did. They even tried to break it up into two scenes and throw Hempfield back into it. You understand what I'm saying? Even though, you know, my opinion with him was he should face some type of consequence, not as severe as them, but he should face something. They kept doing this. When they were talking, they would say the last names of each person. And like, they would like try to like get it. I think they were trying to get it to where like, they were trying to get a separate trial from them as a group. It just seemed funny like that because they were like laughing and mentioning people and mentioning a certain like other clients and trying to put themselves together. And then the one client for Justin Smith, I wouldn't mind, Your Honor, if you allow Justin Smith and Tyre Bean to be together. I think they know each other and they trying to like be cool with that whole situation. But I'm gonna tell you something. This is what the prosecution said, and he shut it down by speaking common sense. He said the tape don't lie. This is the prosecutor now. And won't confuse the jury. It don't matter if it's one jury. I mean, if it's, he said, what he said, it don't matter if it's one person being on trial or 5 people. It makes no difference. The tape shows who did what. And the jury's not stupid. They'll know what the situation was. And they'll see it. So you talking about having a separate trial means nothing because it's the same tape. It will be shown in front of every courtroom, no matter if it's all 5 together or 5 individually. And the same reaction would be the reaction because the jury is the jury. Why do y'all have to separate? It ain't like a RICO trial where it's 35 people and the courtroom can't get filled up. This is open and shut. Tape don't lie. And I felt him on that. He also said, look, this is a simple example of criminal responsibility. You know what I'm saying? He said, 5 men in uniform taking turns beating Tyre Nichols, and it's on tape. What would one jury see that another one doesn't? So why do y'all have to spread it out? It's the same thing. If you didn't do nothing, the tape will show you ain't do nothing. You see what I'm saying? Then it said, he noted that, now this is the one thing I wanted y'all to know, this is key. He mentioned Emmett Martin III by name in reference of he did the most damage to Tyre Nichols, which we already knew. We talked about that. And he said the second scene is critical to these 3 officers that are trying to get off because they were all at the second scene because he brought up Hempfield, them saying something. He said Hempfield was only at the first scene. The second scene was the one where the shot and the awe really took off. And all 3 of them were there. See what I'm saying? In addition to Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin was there already. See what I'm saying? That's what he brought up. And then he sat down. That's when, before the judge could make a judgment or ruling on that, he said, Justin Smith, attorney, popped up with photos. Well, because he said, is there anything anybody else want to say before I make judgment? This is when the lawyer, okay, things ain't looking too good after the prosecution spoke. Your Honor, I got some still photos here. They go with what, you know, we were given and it shows, it proves my point. So now it's like a delay. So what he did was he said, okay, August 2nd. He said October 2nd. Because the prosecutor, I meant to tell you guys, the prosecutor said, we've been dealing with this over 7 months. It's time to move forward with this. There's nothing else to be said. All the facts are on the table. We got the evidence. Let's do this. This is when Justin Smith lawyer come up with still photos. Well, we're going to go look over all of this stuff, more delays. So what he said is October 2nd, what's your availability? We'll do this then. And basically, October 2nd will be a key date coming up, guys, where they just tell them in the motions like, hey, look, y'all not getting separate trials. Y'all going to be brought together, which I think is going to happen because they're backed by the state of Tennessee that already said, hey, try them all together. They got a Fed case. I mean, it's not looking good. What would make the judge just give them that? I think they're just spitting into the wind and their fate is sealed. But I'm telling you, when Tadarius Bean go to trial, I'm going to be down there. It's only nothing but 9 hours away. Stock Market Stevie Boy will be driving. I got to see this lawyer look crazy because that talking and acting like he was crying and man, if he was representing me, I'd be sweating bullets like, yo, my man, like you didn't even be convincing. The prosecutor just got up and spoke without stuttering or nothing. And you went up there and kept wiping your head and you kept doing like, I don't know if he got a condition. If he does, bro, I'm sorry. I'm not that type of dude. I'm not going to make fun of anybody's ailment. But you looking crazy up there. And Tadarius Bean need to be shitting bricks because this is crazy. Listen, you get a chance, I'm going to put it in the link in the description box below. It's hilarious. Watch Tadarius Bean's lawyer, the black dude. Hilarious. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. As always, I'm Stock Market Steve. Thanks for spending time with me in another video. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. The live stream is tonight. We're going to tear fire to the internet. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.